Welcome back to another episode of Beer and Ball. My name is Andrew D'Agostino. That's my co-host Brian Gross. And this week, man, we had a lot of crazy stuff happen in baseball. We had two managers fired, Alex Cora and Rob Thompson, both out of jobs, and just crazy stuff that happened overall after both of their firings. But first off, Brian, you know, it is a little too early, I say, to fire these managers. I know the records were 10 games under 500. It's just like, to me, it's still too early. There's a lot of baseball left that they could finish and well and fix their seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great to be back, first off. Second off, I was pretty shocked about Rob Thompson. I think the Phillies are just in a rut. I definitely think they're going to hit their way out, pitch their way out. They have too good of players. I just think I thought it was a little early to pull the trigger, but if that's what's needed, they've been playing pretty well since, I would say. Schwarber, Harper are starting to hit the ball a little better, so I thought it was a little early, but if that's what they needed. Cora out of Boston made a little more sense. I just feel like him and the front office just had such a disconnect from day one. Breslow and him just never saw eye to eye. I feel like Cora is much more of a players type of guy, feels the game, knows the game. Then you got a lot of analytics upstairs. So that one didn't shock me as much, but I agree with you completely. Way too early to fire any manager, in my opinion, unless, you start crazy 5-20, something like Derek Shelton last year. That made sense. And then just kind of been there, but two veterans who are pretty well respected within that locker room too. So we'll see how this is going to go the rest of the year. But I mean, pretty much they're going to have whoever's going to be the interims for them, or whoever's the interim right now for both of them. They're going to have a full run go. And it was pretty interesting to hear that the Phillies offered Cora the job. That would have been one of the crazier situations we've seen.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a little bit next. For me, Rob Thompson, I felt like that was not his fault managerial wise. I think Dave Dombrowski has done an awful job when it comes to upgrading the pitching staff, whether it is the rotation itself or the bullpen that just continues to be a problem in Philadelphia throughout his time. It's just a waste of talent. Dave Dombrowski is known for doing that. I know he won a World Series in Boston, but if you take a look back at his time in Detroit and throughout his tenures and anywhere, he's just kind of been wasting talent. But for Alex Cora, I thought it was a little interesting how both teams really managed the situation. Obviously, with the firing of both of them, Alex Cora was talking to Dave Dombrowski. They reached out. They're considered friends. That's what they said. Dombrowski said in an interview. And I thought it was a little weird that, he said that the veteran manager made perfect sense and that he was willing to pull the trigger if, the opportunity was right. And for me, I just think it was weird that, naming Don Mattingly the interim and then pursuing, Alex Cora, who just got fired. We've never seen a manager, I feel like, take another job mid-season like this.
No, yeah. I mean, if we had that and the first college to MLB manager, I mean, that'd be a crazy coaching season. But at the end of the day, I mean, Corin, there's some disconnect. And it shows in the Phillies too, because if Dombrowski's trying to do stuff like that, I mean, you're not listening to your team. No team's going to want a manager from somewhere else. They're just going to want to have the next guy. If they really had a problem with Rob, they were just going to want, Mattingly in this case, but whoever, assistant A is or whoever the idea is you want for the next manager. But just really, really brash moves by two front offices that I kind of don't trust right now. And especially one with the Red Sox, it's just really upsetting to me because I just saw a lot of potential.
Yeah, for sure. Craig Breslow, it feels like, with some of the guys that he's acquired and brought in, like Carlos Narvaez and Roman Anthony and all the big prospects he's called up and, brought into this organization, it seems like they're missing something. And I don't think it was the leader of, the voice. I think it was more himself. Last year, you even saw it. He didn't go out and he didn't get the pitching that they needed. They had one of the best offenses in baseball. They didn't get pitching. To make them even better, to be a better playoff team and contender. But for me, I just have a question. Out of both these teams, they're both sitting 12-9 right now. And you kind of said that, it feels like the Phillies are in deeper shit, right? Their lack of pitching. And I think they're both in similar situations. But who do you think has the better chance of, salvaging and saving their season?
They're in very similar divisions. A couple teams that can really make a World Series run in there. I would say right now the Phillies, I just trust the hitting. And I think the pitching will follow. Christopher Sanchez and Aaron Nola is not what he used to be, but he's still going to give you productive innings. The bullpen's always going to be up and down for the Phillies, but I feel like that hitting is just going to carry him through the dog days of summer when you need to just batter in 50 runs in a week. They can do that in 7 games easy. So I think Boston, it's just going to be hard for them to hit, man, because like, what have we always known about Boston? They hit. Every good Boston team hits. That's like just in the bloodline. That's like Giants having good pitching, right? You play to the field. And if they're not getting those doubles off the wall and Roman's not hitting that wall and they're not getting base runners over and having guys like a Bregman out of the lineup is just so big because they just don't have that veteran stopgap. And Duran's, obviously not that guy. As much as I like Jaron, he's just not that guy. So there's just less dudes I trust, and they're younger. So I think the Phillies have more. Like the Red Sox could live with a bad season. I don't think it's a great season, but they can live with it. Phillies, this is all or nothing. I mean, this is their last hurrah. They don't have anybody else. So if they're 12-19 right now, say they go into the I don't want to. I'll be close to the exact games, probably about like 90 games. So say they're 40-52 hypothetically. I mean, I think they have to look at trading. So I feel like those guys don't want it to end. They all resigned for a reason. I'm going to go Phillies.
Yeah, and you're right. Philly is in a win now mode. I know Boston fans don't want to hear that. They're still kind of, in their early window. Guys like, Jaron Duran are probably going to get moved. He's not having a great year. And they really failed to replace Alex Bregman, too. I want to state that. We were both high on Caleb Durbin coming into the year. He has been atrocious. He's been doo-doo. But you're right. The Phillies, they have options on the table. They should not be this bad offensively. Brandon Marsh has been great. Alec Bohm has been a disappointment. They got to figure out what they have to do with him. He is just awful. And again, it's just really concerning that they're not scoring as many runs, and they're close to the Mets right now in record-wise and offensively. With the talent that they have, is just very questionable. So maybe Rob Thompson had something to do with it, but I just, blame more of front office and the players there, even though Rob Thompson does have responsibility for that. But yeah, I think that the Phillies are probably the team that can revive their season quicker, even though I was high on the Red Sox. But the Red Sox just have a lot of holes right now in their lineup, which I thought was one of the best in baseball coming into the season.
Yeah, I thought it's top 10 easily, top 5 potentially, but top 10 easily. And there's teams like, Angels. You can name a bunch of other teams, even the Phillies right now with how bad they're going. Pirates, Reds. So many other teams that are hitting. Padres, so much better than a team that was supposed to be a real run production team. And that's Alex Cora's thing, right? Getting guys on, moving them over, playing the game. That's when the Astros were at their best, and then they had their big home runs, their big moments. So maybe that's what they need. Maybe they just embrace what they got, and maybe the small ball type of approach, hit them over, wasn't doing it for them. Maybe they just need a manager that lets these dudes fucking hack.
Yeah.
Use what you can. Easy solo home runs you can get in that park. Easy doubles that should be flyouts in left field. So maybe a change of pace will be good for them. I understand it more for the Red Sox, but Don Mattingly is such a good interim for the Phillies that I honestly think he could win that job by the end of the year if they make the playoffs, because I just think that's a perfect little guy to a perfect person to slide into that role to run the rest of the season for a team that's a veteran team like that.
Yeah, Don Mattingly's been in this situation before as a manager with the Marlins. He is, known to have a great baseball mind. Been the bench coach last year for the American League champion Blue Jays a year ago. So he's been around the block. He knows what to do. He's been a manager before. Teams and players seem to like him. Personality, was a great player. So, if that has anything to do with it, maybe guys are more willing to listen. I know they're all major leaguers, but, Don Mattingly was a hell of a player in his times. Maybe, Bryce Harper would, want to listen more to Don Mattingly, but that's just a me thing. I doubt these guys really care. Again, man, I think that the Phillies will be better off so far. But moving on, I want to talk about a couple of these teams in the American League, which has been an interesting league so far. There's only a couple teams over 500 right now. That is the Yankees, the Rays, and the Athletics. Let's talk about the Yankees, who are sitting at 20-11, and they look like the best team in the American League as of right now. Top 3 in the American League in ERA. Top 3 in the world in MLB in ERA. Their bullpen has been great so far, which I thought was last year what kept them out of, having a deeper run in the playoffs. And offensively, they still haven't put it together, where as a team, Stanton's still not hitting well. Ahmed Rosario slowed it down a little bit. They still got Aaron Judge, who's putting up Aaron Judge numbers. Worst hitter in April, comes back being the best player in the world for the next 5 months. But man, this Yankees team's been very impressive. I think they've been better than previous Yankees teams. It kind of reminds me of that 2022 team a little bit, getting off to the start.
Yeah, no, dude, this team's, if they pitch like this, they can win a World Series, 100%. Especially if they get a city behind them like this, man. Like that's part of Yankee lore, right? Like that's part of having like a big known team in any pro sport is that fan base, that 12th man. And football, in this case, the 10th person for them. Just having that Yankee Stadium behind them, it's going to be electric in October. The bullpen's just filthy. I mean, highlighting almost a 30% K rate out of the bullpen is disgusting. I mean, and right there is 3 out of 10 guys not moving runners over. So that's even bigger. So that stat just shows how much that bulldog like type of approach they have in that bullpen is that they kind of were looking for last year. And I mean, I think they filled that Juan Soto hole almost perfectly with Ben Rice. I mean, he's one of the most impressive hitters in the league for me. He reminds me a lot of a Kurtz. He could just kind of pop it anywhere in the field and it can go out. Finds the barrel. Little fielder. Obviously, he's caught a lot, which every time I see that in the box score, it like makes my eyes jump. I'm like, I always forget he can catch. Also fluent in Spanish, fun fact about Ben Rice. So he's just a versatile guy. Sadly, it's another Yankee that I like. Sorry for the Guardians fans out there, but if those two get to, if Rice can get to 35, you get Judge to 50, 45 that he probably will. They're about the same right now. Belly to 25, 30. I mean, Jazz is starting to hit. I know we rip on Jazz, but he had back-to-back days with home runs. If he gets to 15, Wells gets to 20. I mean, this team can jump into a top 10 offense, which is all they need right now. And I think that's going to be the best Yankees team because like we said about identity, I mean, we've always known Yankees have great hitters. We've also had those pitchers that have always highlighted their runs too. Andy Pettitte, Roger Clemens, etc. So the more they do this, man, and especially the way Schlittler's pitching, like that dude's such a dog with him, Fried, and Cole. I mean, them and the Dodgers would be annoying again, but I'll tell you what, I think it'd be a real fun one this year. I think it's 6 or 7 for sure.
Yeah, I think it would be a real fun one. And speaking of your point about Cam Schlittler and Max Fried, 2 of the best pitchers in all of baseball, both top 5 in ERA right now, strikeouts, walk rate, literally across the board. Them, Parker Messick, Chase Burns have been outstanding in Major League Baseball, the new age pitchers right now in this league. But for me, another guy, Will Warren, has been very good. Yes. They tried Omar Rodriguez-Cruz. He gave up 3 runs in 5 innings in his first start against the Rangers. But, they have depth. Luis Gil has been all right, I would say. But like you said, Garrett Cole right now is in AAA rehabbing, is potentially coming back at the end of this month here in May. What a shot in the arm that would be for this team that already has one of the best rotations in baseball. And like you said, they continue to pitch well, but I want to highlight something that a lot of people don't talk about. What really bites the Yankees in the butt a lot is, the past couple of years is their lack of athleticism, stealing bases. They've kind of fixed that with Jazz and Jose Cabanero. But right now they're top 10 in outs above average in defense, and that is really huge. Cody Bellinger has done a great job out there. Trent Grisham has been a great glove in center field. Aaron Judge, so they have like one of the best defending outfielders in baseball, but Jose Calderon has been playing great shortstop. And the one thing I think that has been key for Jazz, even though he's not hitting, is the gloves there. Something that's been not very, good for him in the past. The glove has been fantastic so far for Jazz Chisholm. So if the Yankees continue to pitch, hit, and play elite defense, they're not the same Yankees of old where they just hit home runs. I feel like this year they're more, hitterish. They spray the ball over the field. Yes, they're not hitting so many home runs. They might have a lot of home runs in the team total, but they're a hitterish ball club more than they used to be.
Definitely. They spray it around the field. Pretty much every guy can go anywhere on the field. Maybe like Wells and Jazz kind of pull hard, but other than that, pretty much all their top hitters can go anywhere. And yeah, to your point, if the defense can, especially the outfield, can prevent runs at Yankee Stadium, you're living good as a pitcher. Because if you can limit those doubles, pretty much anything over your head, you just tip your cap, it's going to be a home run. But if you can limit those gap doubles, you're going to be living clean. And I just feel like they're putting everybody in a good situation. Their offense is contributing to the defense, pitching, etc., base running. They're just flowing, man. And as much as people don't like it, I'm just happy there's somebody that's really, really competitive because, the next team we're going to talk about here, they're the usual.
Yeah, and that team is the Los Angeles Dodgers. And, Brian really made a point out that, the Yankees are kind of getting into like a little bit into Dodger territory, right? With the pitching and the defense and the offensive threat. But right now, it's the same old story in Chavez Ravine, man. They're 20-11. They came off a series loss against the Miami Marlins, which really shocked me. The Marlins have been really scrappy so far.
Yeah.
Kyle Stowers is kind of popping out. Otto Lopez has been great for them. Owen Casey. But that Dodger team, it just seems like with Blake Snell coming back and they have a great rotation so far, I'm shocked that they're 20-11 with all these injuries. And I shouldn't be because the amount of depth. They're top 5 in WRC plus right now offensively, sub 3 ERA as a rotation. And they're just the top dog in baseball. We have to admit it. They've won back-to-back World Series champions. They are the top dog. We're going to name them the top dog in the show until
Absolutely.
they get beaten.
Absolutely. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like people want to rip on the roster. And believe me, I'm one of them. I love ripping on the payroll. They're still playing, right? You got to play the games, dude. I mean, baseball's 162. You can't just go out there and half-ass it. They play hard. They all play their roles. When you have Dalton Rushing hitting like he is at the bottom of the lineup with Max Muncy, Sprinkle, and Teoscar Hernandez, Mookie Betts isn't even in the lineup. I mean, dude, this team. And Kyle Tucker really hasn't hit his stride yet. He's like playing okay. He's hitting okay. Really hasn't hit like that Kyle Tucker we know. And once he gets comfortable, I'm sure in the summer, like when he has those summer nights and Chavez Ravine, I mean, that's just going to be so fun for him. But at the end of the day, this team's just playing well, man. And tip your cap. Dave Roberts and these guys, they always play. They don't take games off. They're very much like the Spurs in the 2000s. Everyone hated them. They have a stacked roster. They kept adding, but at the end of the day, they play the game right. They respect it. They're not like the Astros. They respect the game and they play hard. And you got to respect the amount of guys that play different positions and different roles. I mean, their best player goes from pitching to hitting. So it just shows you right off the bat when you have a guy like that, everybody's going to play their role. And it's pretty special to see a bunch of pro athletes not have an ego like that this past couple of years, because usually when you win those couple, it starts showing.
Yeah, for sure.
Or it starts deteriorating like the Chiefs or something like that. But, I mean, this team's just never losing a stride. And, it's kudos to the whole organization. It's one of the best ran. I'm not even going to say just organizations in baseball. Probably one of the best organizations ran in the world, in all of business. I mean, really, it's the Dodgers. So hats off to them. That's all I'm going to say about them because I just get annoyed. But we got to.
Yeah, we get annoyed talking about it, but we also, as baseball fans, I know fans don't want to hear this, we have to appreciate their level of excellence for some point. I know that the spending is bad for the game, but what is great for the game is seeing the best player in the world shine brightest on the brightest stages, and that's what Shohei Ohtani's been doing. Brian said that he's pitching and hitting is better than anybody right now, leading the league in ERA. Striking out, he's gone 6 innings every single start he has had, which is impressive in today's age of baseball. And like you said, he's in the top of that lineup, continuing to walk, continuing to hit his stride, homering. But like you made a reference to the San Antonio Spurs, and I really like that because in my mind when he said that, I immediately thought of Kawhi Leonard. And that has been, Andy Pages and Dalton Rushing so far, right? You thought of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. I forget the other ball guy.
Manu
Ginobili. Your big three, Freeman, Ohtani, Betts. But you forget about guys like Kawhi Leonard on that team that is like, a Dalton Rushing, Andy Pages that are going to take their next strides and unfortunately be the next faces of baseball. The Dodgers have one of the best catching duos in the baseball right now with Dalton Rushing and Will Smith. So the rotation, they have so many, quick fixes in the lineup if somebody goes cold.
I also think that's going to become more of a thing, dual catchers and having a third on the roster with that 26 spot, and almost like having like a DH catcher type of switch off. You see it, they're doing it right now in Chicago. I think that's going to become really, really common because I think in baseball now, like the youth depth is not as deep as it used to be. It's more like filtered through, like youth sports is more filtered now. So I think you're going to get like, who do you need to catch? One of your best players, right? Mm-hmm. Growing up in youth ball, like if you don't have a good catcher, you're screwed in high school, college even. So many of these catchers, I feel like instead of trying to turn them into a Bryce Harper, I feel like you're going to see a lot of guys do this dual catching because there's no reason if you're that good, like if Will Smith only has to catch 90 games, he's going to be so much more fresh than, having to catch 150.
Yeah, and that's a good point to make. Like these dual catchers, I feel like the Atlanta Braves, the team we'll talk about next, kind of started when they had Travis d'Arnaud and Sean Murphy batting in their really good, one of the best offenses in baseball in 23, where they had Murphy as catcher and DHing Darno. And the Dodgers kind of doing the same thing, but another team that's been doing it, I think it's been a trend bringing back the offensive catchers. The Cardinals with
Yeah.
Ivan Herrera and Pedro Pajes, they have two catchers in their lineup all the time. But to your point, man, they have everything that you need. Everybody barrels the ball. Everybody has a quality at bat. Miguel Rojas isn't the greatest hitter in the world, but he'll get scrappy. He'll get dirty. He'll lay down a bunt. He'll move the runner over. So, I mean, they just play winning baseball, and that's all I can say about the Dodgers so far, man.
Yeah, winning organization.
Yeah, for sure. And another winning organization, man, and a team that I love and I know you love too, the Atlanta Braves. They have the best record in baseball right now, 22-10. This really shouldn't be a shock to anybody with the names they have on their roster, right? They're getting Spencer Strider back on Sunday, which I think is a big shot in the arm for a rotation that's one of the best in baseball. This team leads the league in OPS. They slug, they hit. Michael Harris has been amazing. Ronald Acuna is just Ronald Acuna. Yeah. And right now they have a 69 run differential. It's one of the best in baseball. Well, what are your thoughts on the Braves so far?
Yeah, dude, if they show up the bullpen, they're going to be right there with the Dodgers too. Them, the Yankees, and the Dodgers. You guys probably understand why we're talking them three in a row here. They're all kind of in their own upper echelon above the MLB. But yeah, right now, I mean, and Acuna's not even getting that luck on home runs right now. I saw like a stat. He's like 5.5 home runs projected from like the normal stat cast of what he's hitting these balls. So, I mean, he's just going to keep getting better. Matt Olson's starting so hot. Austin Riley hasn't even hit his stride yet. Michael Harris is hitting like a top player. When you have him in the 7-hole, I mean, dude, that's just such a fucking, like you said, shot in the arm. Obviously, Drake Baldwin is terrific, and Dubois filling the role. Profar was on this team, folks. That was a big piece. People thought I was pretty nervous about that piece. And I mean, I don't think anybody in that ballpark has said Profar. I don't think anybody's thought about him. So they even dreamt about him. So right now, they just got to keep going with what they're going. They don't have to worry about winning too many games. Just stay pat at this point in the season. Make sure guys stay healthy. Don't be afraid to give guys days off or just DH days. I think that's going to be really important at this team to just how are they going to manage the rest of this year? Because they've proven to themselves after last year's fluke that last year was a fluke.
Yeah, and they brought up a kid. This one rookie, I forget his name, but I've seen him pitch. I think it's Ritter or something. He's pitched out of his mind. They have depth in that, minor leagues, rotation-wise with Bryce Elder, who's pitched really well. Can't forget Spencer Schwellenbach's going to come back. Hurston Waldrop's eventually going to come back. I know I keep saying this on the show, but that's huge for them. And like Brian says, the bullpen too has been phenomenal. Albert Suarez has been one of the best acquisitions in all of baseball, having a .71 ERA so far this season. Having that as your setup, man, the former a closer last year for the Padres that was up there in saves. Just well done by the Braves front office. And they just hit too. They just love the hit, just dangerous, like Brian said, having Michael Harris in the 7-hole, and Austin Riley hasn't even gotten hot. Once he gets hot, I mean, this team can go. I think this is the team that is closest to the Dodgers in this league. The Yankees are really good too. I think that if anybody could beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series, it would be the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, 100%. In the NL, the Padres think they can. I mean, unless they get Mason Miller in the best situations ever. In the 8th and the 9th. I feel like that's just going to run out of gas. Yeah, right now, dude, the Braves are so friggin' good. They, again, just manage the rest of the season. We don't want to see this team fall off. We're sick of that. We want to see a full, healthy Braves team. So let's run it.
Yeah, and two teams that I want to talk about too before we move on to our next segment. I know I don't have it on the show notes, but the Padres and Cubs. Really, the entire NL has been fantastic. You look at the whole NL Central; all the teams are above 500. Sitting in last place, sadly, is this 500 Pittsburgh Pirates, but they've been playing good baseball. Yeah. They're getting Spencer Jones back, which will be a huge shot in the arm for them. But it feels like the Padres and Cubs are not too far away. I think I like the Cubs more than the Padres.
I agree.
I know, baseball media likes the Padres a lot, but, with Tatis not going, I don't think they can go as far as people can. They're relying on Jake Cronenworth and all the lower guys too with Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill. Their pitching is a little skeptical to me. I mean, they have good numbers so far, but the names aren't really there for me. How could they sustain this for a whole season, right?
Yeah, I just don't like any of their setup. Their top guys aren't great right now. Michael King's pretty good. I don't think that should be your ace, but Cease was just. I'm not a huge Cease guy. He's pitching great this year, but that was a big loss, and they really didn't feel that well. And at the end of the day, they're hot, and they kind of are falling into wins a lot. And you can't ask Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado to be our top two hitters. Accusations are accusations. I'm a nobody, so it's whatever. But like, there has to be some correlation between the power and the steroids, dude. Like, I mean, there is a direct shown after he has gotten caught of just the biggest drop off you can see, and he's barreling balls. It's not like he's not barreling the ball. That's what's scary. Like, if it's the same as a pitcher, if he comes back and he's thrown 5 miles an hour less, but it's not an injury, it's more worrisome than if it was an injury. So like, if you're barreling the ball and it's not going out in San Diego, like, dude, like,
Yeah.
what's the problem? I don't know if it's an injury he's not saying. I mean, yeah, like, you can't rely on Bogarts, Machado,
Rihanna.
Laureano, Sheets. I mean, Laureano also the past 160 games has been one of the best hitters in baseball, but that's another thing. You can't rely on these guys. Ty France, you can't rely on these guys. I mean, Jackson Merrill's having a fine year. He's really slow at the average, but he's driving in a lot of runs. But I don't think he's ready to take that step as the main hitter right now. He's so young still, and especially trading that shortstop, dude. DeVries or whatever. The development in hitting and like the hitting coming up scares me for the Padres because there's not a lot of star hitting, and if Tatis isn't gonna be that star, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, they have a lot of questions for me because, like you said, I don't know how the Padres, after the Juan Soto trade and some of the other bigger deals that AJ Preller, excuse me, has done. I don't know how they're still standing right now,
It's
winning
crazy.
games, with
It's
having no
crazy.
future. I know they have a lot of international money where they could sign guys and they just use them for trade bait. But here's the one guy that I do really like is Luis Campusano, their catcher, who has a 1.126 OPS. Dude rakes for them. Hopefully he's going to get more at bats. Freddie Fermin has not been great for them. He was a bat first catcher, but now he's just falling off the face of the earth. He's batting 170 right now, so they're going to have to figure it out. But Miguel Cronenworth and like Miguel Andujar to me has been a nice addition to them for hitting left-handed pitching, but I don't see him as an everyday type of bat that they're kind of using. I mean, do you really
look at Castellanos too? That's the type of team they are. That's their addition, right? That's what they can add. So.
One home run in 1 month. You would expect more from Nick Castellanos, right?
164, like, dude, it's bad. It's really bad.
So I'm out on the Padres. I know that right now they're sitting pretty well right now in the standings in second place in the National League West at 19-11, excuse me.
If you're a run diff guy too, they're only an 8-run diff. They're as many runs as wins. They might just have one of those years where they go, 30-8 in 1-run games. It just happens. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And the other team that I want to talk about is the Chicago Cubs, man. And they've really impressed me. Even when they came to Cleveland early on in the year, they pitched well. They have a lot of good pitching, even though the names aren't as big. But man, like you said, it's just like a combination of both. Like the addition of Alex Bregman's been nice. He hasn't really hit well for them, but that veteran leadership has been amazing for them. Pete Crow Armstrong's finally catching fire. He's batting 8th for them. And Dansby Swanson's been great defensively, offensively. They have so many key pieces that this Cubs team could eventually, grow. But they're still young. They're still a young ball club.
Yeah, I did not expect them to hit the stride like this. They just have a lot of veteran pieces that have been there for so long. Ian Happ's, Dansby Swanson's, Horners, even like Matt Shaw at this point, Michael Busch, who just had a rough start the year. Who's still banged up, but he's going to be coming back just fine. And then you add a guy like Moises in this lineup, a young bat that can just rake for you and then help out at the catching position. And you always have Suzuki. Bregman obviously not hitting the greatest, but he's adding a lot of stability, and I think he filled in that lineup like a puzzle piece just perfectly. That's exactly what they needed. At the end of the day, the Cubs pitching is just so good. You want to highlight that and just get enough runs and kind of be hitterish and spray it around the field, and that's what they're doing. I did not expect this from the Cubs. We'll see if it keeps lasting, but I don't see it not. I mean, I think this is easily a top 5 team in the NL for the rest of the year. I think probably top 2 in the NL Central. So we'll see kind of how that weeds out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people in a lot of teams in this league would want a guy like Nico Horner too. I just want to make that statement. Great extension by the Cubs to get him locked up early in the year. That bat has just been so big for them. The contact first bat that, can spray the ball across the field, and that really becomes contagious for a lot of these hitters. We see it with Matt Shaw right now putting up some good numbers. Michael Bush has been struggling, but when Michael Bush is on, he does a little bit of the same thing, but he hits for all power for all sides of the field. And just a guy that you said too, Moses Ballesteros. I still can't say the name, but he's been amazing. He's a 93rd percentile in run value, batting run value. Just if you look at his savant, it's pretty red. One of the best hitters in all of baseball, DHing for the Cubs. And again, like it's another team with two hitting catchers with Carson Kelly and Ballesteros.
Yeah, I love it, especially with Amaya just not being the guy. I think they but now he's even kind of adding a little bit. He's in 240. He's got 2 dingers, 6 RBIs. Between those 3 guys, you can kind of run a rotation and really let Moises hit too, which is what you want that bat to do. If you look at this lineup, dude, you have 50 runs batted in from Swanson and Horner. Those are 2 guys. I wouldn't even put them in the top 3 of projected run RBI guys in the beginning of the year. I'd put Happ, I'd put Suzuki, I'd put Bregman, maybe Armstrong, hell, maybe Bush. They might not even be top 4. So if you're getting that from that type of lineup, it's just up and down. And it's Counsell, right? Is Craig still there? Yeah. And Craig just built they're brewerish. They're becoming very brewerish, which I saw with Craig. And that's like the bones of it, right? It's kind of like how Kevin Cash brought that style to that Terry Francona Cleveland style to Tampa. I feel like he's doing this a little bit within the division. And man, I'll tell you what, as a buddy that has a friend that's lived in Wrigleyville, cousins that lived in Wrigleyville, the amount of people I've talked to, it is fun when the Cubs are winning. Let me tell you, it's one of the most fun places to be. Chicago's one of the most fun places to be for a winning team. So if the Cubs can keep doing this is postseason baseball. This is winning baseball. They just got to find, I think Suzuki's their guy and Bregman. But if those 2 can step up in those big moments, this team can make it interesting. For sure.
For sure. And then
maybe win a series in the postseason.
Absolutely. And the pitching, though, is a little concerning. To me, the Shota Imanaga has been great for them. He's pitching to a 2.88 ERA. He's been their big horse. He's striking guys out more than he did in previous years, which I think's been very impressive. 38 this year already. Colin Ray and Jamison Tyone, just not getting it done for me. I would like to see them go out and add a piece at the deadline for their starting rotation. Matt Boyd has been a disappointment too. 7 ERA, just not the same. I know he's dealing with some injuries, but like if you're relying on Ben Brown, who is surprisingly pitching under a 2 ERA right now, I think it'll get a little dicey. But Edward Cabrera and Shota have been the anchors of this rotation. They're going to have to rely heavily on them, especially with the bullpen that is relying on Hobie Milner to be their closer. They're going to have to figure something out with the pitching.
Yeah, especially with Horton injured. They're going to have to. We're going to have to see how that plays out the next couple months. But they're going to be active. I can see them being active at the trade deadline for sure. I don't think maybe they'll go get like he won't be available, but like a Sandy, somebody like that who's always talked about. But I think they can get an easy 2-3 spot who can add some depth into this lineup and kind of let Shota run with it. And we'll see with Boyd, man. That's disappointing because he was pitching so well, but we've seen this with his career. He just goes on these dips. Something that's sadly not too surprising.
Yeah, for sure. Like for Matt Boyd, it just seems like he's so streaky, and I think it's year streaky, right? We've seen him when he was at the Tigers and he fell off the face of the earth. Then, years later, just kind of like hovering and staying in the league, but not really staying on active rosters, just bouncing around. And finally, Cleveland gave him a shot. And Cleveland, Carl Willis does its magic and he gets this deal with the Cubs, had a great year a year ago, but it kind of seems this is like how Matt Boyd is, right?
Yeah.
And we saw it in the WBC too. I know it's March baseball. You can't really put a lot of weight onto it, but he didn't really pitch his best ball, leaving a lot of changeups over the plate, getting hit hard. And I think that's translated already in his 4 games pitch.
Definitely. And I don't see him as a guy that's like a bounce back guy. When he's hot, he's rolling. When it stops, it's almost like kind of like a train. It's really hard to get going again.
Yeah. And with Palencia being hurt too, I do have a little concern for the back end of the bullpen.
For sure.
Caleb Feubar has been great for them. They're pitching to 312, but like Phil Maton, who they signed that they wanted to give a little bit of role. They brought in Corbin Martin, Ethan Roberts. So like there's just guys everywhere that are just being relied on for high leverage situations for majority of the first time of their career in the big leagues. And like you said, like Cade Horton, he was a starter, but sometimes they had it. I guess in bigger games, if you really wanted to in the postseason, use him out of the bullpen in an elimination game, they could have had that option, but he's out for the year. Hunter Harvey has been horrible for them, so they have a lot of questions in that bullpen.
Yeah, and 22 innings from Ben Brown already is way too much in 10 games. Again, I don't know how much you can trust that going for the years. They're going to need a couple reinforcements with pitching. Honestly, if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm not worried at all. I think they're going to get that situated.
Yeah,
At
for sure.
least address it. I mean, it will be perfect. Who knows? Nobody knows perfectly, but they'll address it.
For sure. And speaking of two teams that we've talked about a little bit, and I said in our last episode, I'm going to take it with pride. I said that the Colorado Rockies would finish higher than the New York Mets, and they swept the New York Mets this week. We're going to talk about crisis mode in the Queens. They're sitting at 10-21. We talk about them a lot. It's just like it's a culture issue. Bottom five in weighted runs created plus, excuse me. 10% in walk rate. I mean, they just can't do anything right now. And it seems like in the new age of baseball, right, how things are trending, Carlos Mendoza is going to be on the chopping block. I know they said that they're not going to fire him, but if your GM, like Stearns, is coming out there and saying that, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
It means that eventually you're getting, fired.
Exactly. It's like if you hear from like a grapevine, you're like, oh, is you and your girlfriend okay? And instead of like a really enthusiastic answer, she's like, yeah, we're fine. It's like, yeah, that's your sign, bud. Like if they're talking about you in the fucking media, you're gonna be gone. And honestly, for him, it's better. This team has no life. The players are spineless. I'll say it time and time and again. They don't want to win. They're all about themselves. Bill Bichette being sad in the dugout by himself highlights it all. Now he has to sit in his 5, 6 year contract, whatever it was. At the end of the day, they don't do enough to become a team. And if you're not a team in baseball, you can have all stars all around the place. Like anybody who's played travel ball has one been the better team and one been the bad team, and has won as the bad team and has lost as the better team. It's happened to any sport, growing up in any travel or youth league. So at the end of the day, in pro sports, it's going to be highlighted. If you don't care, we saw literally last night with the Nuggets. They did not care as much this series, and a depleted team beat them with the Timberwolves. So I mean, nobody cares on this team. And credit to Soto. Soto's doing his role, which at the end of the day, you're paying him $700 million. I shouldn't be having to have the only highlight be Juan Soto. That's a terrible sign for them.
Yeah.
When you spend that much money on a person, it should be like an Otani. Like it's just going to be constant. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, when you have guys like Alvarez, Lindor, Bichette, all pretty much under 750 OPS, like, I mean, Stephen Kwan would be like a top hitter on this team.
That's why I put it up here.
It's unbelievable, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, and then look at the run production. There's nothing there. And why is nothing there? It's because nobody's getting on base. And this team's not a good enough, Bench has some nice deals, but they're not a good enough base running team to manufacture runs like that. So if they're not hitting bombs and stuff, they just have no identity. At the end of the day, they just have no identity. I'm not even trying to crash out, dude. I'm just like so sick of the Mets. I'm so happy this is happening. Just so sick of them.
Yeah, I saw this one meme. It was the Eric Cartman where he does the Washington Redskins. Somebody did a meme today. I'll probably repost it on our Twitter. It was the intervention. It was Mets go F yourself.
Yeah,
but I put this up here for you guys to just enjoy. Look at this. They are one of the worst teams in OPS in baseball. Just wanted to show you their best OPS hitter is below league average right now. 730 right now is league average in OPS, and Francisco Alvarez right now has an OPS of 718. Lindor, who's hurt, obviously second in OPS on the team. But Bo Bichette, they gave him a 3-year, $100 million deal. He has an opt-out. He's basically playing for another contract, right?
He almost has more strikeouts than hits.
Yeah, he has more this is crazy. 89 OPS. That's just not going to get the job done for a guy that was once considered one of the best hitters in all of baseball. He's shown a little bit of signs and strengths recently, I would say, but they have just so many holes in this lineup. And I really do feel bad for Nolan McLean, who's probably their next Jacob deGrom, and he is just saving this franchise. The pitching is just beyond me, man. They are just like this bullpen with what they got, bringing in Luke Weaver. Devin Williams is god awful. It's just unbelievable that this Mets team is this bad with the talent they have. Ranked 27th in Major League Baseball in offense. And you had a point. What did you want to make?
It's just like I was looking on the stats real quick. I mean, yeah, they're 27th in walks right now, like Blue Jays, Diamondbacks, Giants. But the thing about those three teams is they all can kind of hit home runs and hit doubles. 90 walks is bad. I mean, they are on the
to how many strikeouts? I'm just genuinely curious.
I believe it's 99. No, hold on, sorry. That was RBIs. So first off, they have almost as many RBIs as walks.
That's horrible.
That should never happen, folks. That's that. For instance, the Rockies have 133 RBIs to 97 walks, um, and the Rockies have struck out a bunch, but they hit the ball. The Mets 243 strikeouts to 90 walks, dude. That is like, and if you're not barreling anything, I mean, how are you going to hit? How are you going to score runs? You can have the best pitching in the world, dude. Like, it's sad too because there's a couple guys on this team. Like, still feel bad for Bo. He was young. He made a dumb decision. Guys like Lindor and Soto, I don't feel bad for. They made their beds. Guys like Freddie Peralta, I feel bad for. Nolan McLean.
Yeah.
Those are just ball players. And you're sold this bill of goods from New York, and it's the hot girl or the hot guy that can never get his life together, her life together, and dates a bunch of people, and always going to be the best thing ever, and always sells his bill of goods to the person. And I'm sorry to keep going on to the dating stuff, but it's just a good analogy. It just sells you nothing. It's snake oil salesman of a franchise, and it's frustrating because there's so many players that are going to waste their careers there. And like, if you're Toronto, man, Boba, whole crew, they all came up together. It was so special. Him and Vladdy were like the sons of major league players. It was kind of like that special bond between them with Biggio, even, and obviously Biggio's gone now, but it's just sad to see. And this is pro sports. At the end of the day, this is pro sports. This is the business side. This is what we're seeing in college. It breaks up teams. So at the end of the day, this is kind of what comes with what we love about sports. This is what we hate about sports.
Yeah, I don't really blame him for getting that contract. You got to think about it too. Like, it seemed like the Blue Jays were ready to move on from Bo before the season even started, right? In 24, he had the hamstring issues. He was hurt for majority of the year. The year before that, he led the league in hits. So it's just the lack of consistency for Bo Bichette. Who I don't feel bad for is Juan Soto. I do not feel bad for Francisco Lindor, as much as I like Lindor, the player and the person. I don't feel bad for him signing that contract. And, it might sound petty from somebody from Cleveland, but I don't feel bad if you're going to New York to try to win, saying this is a better franchise when in the past they have not. And it continues, even with Stephen Cohen, who has their God-sended, owner that bought the team that the fans were trying to tell us about for years. And fans, I mean, it's been the same thing. They made the playoffs more often than they did with the Wilpons. But I mean, at least with the Wilpon team in 2015 made the World Series. This team hasn't even gotten close. They made
the Wilpons built teams.
Yeah,
like it or not. I mean, they didn't have the best teams, but they tried to build. They had homegrown talent. Yeah, at the end of the day, like, dude, like the Guardians. This is why, like, and I don't mean to like make it a Guardians podcast, but this is why, like, it annoys me with fans. Like, just accept that with the Dolans, we're not going to have a high payroll, but like, we could be this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, think if we were as bad as the Mets with that payroll. Like, dude, we'd be the Rockies last year. Like, people don't realize how important it is to be able to build and have that front office. And when it's just a tech guy throwing money at things, like, that's just not how this type of business works. Somebody can sell something, a tangible product, but might have trouble, selling, like recruiting, like selling people to jobs, so it's all about strength. And I don't think he's accepted that he doesn't have strengths in this field. So until he kind of lets the reins go, we compare him to the Browns all the time, right?
Yeah.
Similar to how Jimmy's kind of letting AB run the show right now. We seem to have really good drafts back to back. It's going to be similar with the Mets until he lets a good manager or, I'm not going to say Theo, but somebody like a Theo Epstein. I don't think Theo would take the job, but somebody like that to run it and change the organization. It's not going to happen. So
yeah, Theo would be great for this job, and I'm not projecting it because I think David Stearns is doing the best what David Stearns can do with
super hand-tied
with this ownership group. But I think if somebody could fix it, it'd be Theo Epstein, but that's not a possibility right now. We're talking about the present, and the present is the Mets need to build within. They wanted to. That's why they traded guys like Max Scherzer away, and they started this rebuild. They fired the previous regime. So, like, you're never giving those guys a chance. You're just bringing in the big names and expecting them to produce at a high level. He hasn't learned his lesson from the first time.
And what would fix all this, and this is the cheesiest saying in sports, but you have to have some sports IQ to understand the saying and look at it deeper. Winning would fix this. And what does that mean? Everyone has to play in a winning fashion. That's what that means in its precipice. If you look actually into the words of that, and without explaining it too much, it is everybody try to win, which means play the role of winning. Get the guy over when he's at second in a 1-1 game in the 6th inning. Make that play Don't try to turn a crazy double play. Get the one out for your pitcher so he doesn't have to have first and second no outs. It's the little things. And if they can come together, I mean, they have the talent, but it's just, I highly doubt that's going to happen. I mean, we saw this 2 weeks in, dude.
Yeah.
And it was pretty ballsy on us to project that. And I mean, I don't feel good. I don't want all these teams to suck. I don't like the Mets, but I don't really I just like watching good baseball. And they have a lot of good players. Like we are saying, it's upsetting having guys like this. And the other team that we were going to highlight here, they have a lot of guys like that, especially one of the best hitters in baseball.
For sure. And one last point about the Mets. They're 17-20 in their last 20 games. I'm sorry. They've lost 17 games in their last 20, what I was trying to say. But, man, that is just depressing in Queens. Another depressing sight, and we've talked about this team a lot. I think they just need to blow it up. We talk about the struggling teams a lot because both of these teams have so much talent, but it's just a lack of production when it comes from one side or the other or both. And it's with the Houston Astros, who have one of the best offenses in baseball. It's scoring runs right now. That's not been an issue for them. But what has been an issue for them is bottom five right now, having one of the worst rotations in all of baseball. They give up, I think, one and a half home runs a game. It's just crazy. Hard hit rate is one of the highest in baseball. They cannot get outs, and they play good enough defense to win games. But if you can't have good enough pitching, you'll never win in this league.
Yeah, if you turn it into BP, dude, you can have the best feeling in the world, and nothing's going to happen. This was one of my big projections going into the year. I said it with the pitching. Amai was supposed to be the number 2. Right there shows you how bad it is. Honestly, Hunter Brown's been pretty good so far, but his injury is just huge. I mean, now you pretty much are running Burrows, McCullers, Weiss, Arrighetti. Dude, that is Lampert. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just meatball city. You got to put up 8-7 runs to even have a chance most of these games to even win a series. So, this is a team that I think we saw coming down the pipeline, and we saw in Cleveland early on, took the series from us, but just not an impressive team and no firepower. It's just if it's a gunfight, pitching's a gunfight, they have pistols. They don't have any ARs, they don't have any shotguns, they don't have any tanks. They have pistols. So that's what this team is right now, and they're going to have to blow it up.
Yeah, for sure. If it was a street fight, this team's fucking taking a machete while the other guy has a rocket launcher. That's how bad they are right now, pitching-wise. Let me name you some of the ERAs. Mike Burrows, 6.25. That is their 3 right now. Lance McCullers, I'm not really going to blame him because he gets hurt all the time, 32. Ryan Weiss, 6.65.
We're not naming times of the day, folks. This is literal ERAs.
Yeah, I mean, these are
crazy.
I mean, we could compare inches to stuff. That's how, a lot smaller than, okay, I'm just going to move on. But Peter Lambert,
that's a ton of inches.
Peter Lambert, man, fraudulent 352. Okay, we can just get that out of the way. I know he dominated Cleveland. He dominated some other teams, but fraudulent 352. He hasn't pitched
7 walks and 3 starts.
I mean, just hasn't pitched a lot in Major League Baseball. Time will catch up to him. Kaiwan Tang has been really good for them out of the bullpen. That's the only guy that I really highlight and say is great, other than Hunter Brown, who's been hurt. But, I mean, if you're relying on Enyel De Los Santos to be your setup guy, you're in trouble.
Dos Santos, Brian King's, Tang at the end of the day is just going to be a trade chip. Dude, it's so bad. It's like I can't stop. It's like a car crash. I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah, I'm just JP France 810,
and it's like every stat, folks. Yeah, it's like everyone you can imagine. So weird, and they all just not only do they all not strike guys out because again they suck. Okay, they have 4 guys over 20 strikeouts. I'm pretty sure the Tribe might have 10 almost.
Their whole rotation.
I mean, dude, the walks. I mean, okay. Mike Burrows, to his credit, 33 strikeouts and 12 walks. That's not bad. He's been asked to do too much. He's already pitched 31 innings. McCullers, 33-17, but we know how up and down he is. Spencer Arrighetti, 25-16. Lampert, 19-7. 16-15 with Abreu out of the bullpen. AJ, blue ball, 15-11. My 13-11. Dude, that is free base runners with the meatballs these guys throw up. I mean, no wonder they suck. Especially in a bad division.
That too,
yeah. A bad AL too.
Athletics are a great ball. I mean, not great, but great offensively. They have some nice pieces. That pitching is awful. If Aaron Savali is your ace, other than Luis Severino, who is just wow, that was one of the worst contracts in all of baseball. I'm just gonna say it. But dude, if you're in that division and you're running Colton Gordon out there, teams are hitting 467 against. I'm not even making that up. Like if he's out there to
So
give you
bad.
quality outs, I mean, I thought
It's really
teams like
bad.
the White Sox or the Rockies are running this shit out there. It's the Astros who we expected to be at least in playoff contention. But like you said, you took the under win total, but 86.5. That looks like
Yeah,
that can hit
easy,
next month.
easy. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, like their pitching is the Mets offense. It's the same thing, and then the Mets pitching's Astros offense. It's the same thing. It's just so lopsided. It's a seesaw, dude. You can't win a baseball game if your team's like this 24/7. You got to be able to have someone in the middle, and it's so fucking weighted to the one side. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm tired about the negativity a little bit. I want to talk about one team before we kind of like talk about some of the big matchups this weekend. We'll preview. Baltimore Orioles are kind of trending up. They're 15-16, but they have some they have some bats coming back. Adley Rushman has looked really good. He homered last night, his fourth home run of the year. Finally trending a little bit up.
Another dual catcher
Belisario
there.
has been very good. Another dual catching team, like Brian said. And Gunnar Henderson has been fantastic. They have the pieces to win offensively. The pitching has been a little bit better. Tyler Rogers is now on the IL, which is a little concerning for that rotation that has been better as of recent, I would say. But for Baltimore, what do you expect for them to, improve and potentially in an AL East that is kind of weaker with the Rays and the Yankees being the only two teams right now with winning records?
They're a team I kind of like to make the playoffs. Their hitting's contagious, man. They're a fun team. Like I'm just so happy for a guy like Pete found his spot. He loves that lineup. Seems like Baltimore loves him and embraces him. It's a good city when it comes to embracing their players. And Taylor Ward is such an underrated addition. I mean, that was such a sneaky pickup, such a good stability piece in the top of that lineup. And if you have guys like Basillo and Rutschman hitting like this, including a Jeremiah Jackson low in the lineup, hitting like 6 dingers already.
It's crazy.
And this is all without Tyler O'Neill. And Tyler Ward's hit 1 home run, still hitting 304. So he'll hit 20 by the end of the year. Don't worry about that, folks. If he plays a full year, he'll get to 20. Pete's had a slow start, but he's starting to hit again. He's starting to turn around. And I think it's just comfortability, getting used to the lineup. But they have to trade for some pitching. They're going to have to. I think they're a team that goes before the deadline. They know what they want to do. They want to compete. They can be a number 2 team in this league and easily get a wild card. Or in this division, sorry, and easily get a wild card. But they need to address it right away. They're not going to have the development down there. They don't have the guys ready in AAA. They don't have the firepower, especially with Rodgers being hurt. They got to get 2 starters. But I think there'll be plenty to be able to get. I think even if you have to go get a guy like a Sevy, who obviously isn't pitching great, but can fill in some innings for you and has the potential to kind of turn it around. You just need to keep yourself in games with this team. And their bullpen, to their credit, is not terrible right now. And they do have some arms in the bullpen, but yeah, starting needs to get addressed, man.
Yeah, and to your credit, you mentioned that Jeremiah Jackson has 6 home runs. A year ago, this Baltimore team only had 3 players. Actually, they had nobody over 20, but they had 3 players around 15 home runs. So that says a lot. They went out to improve this, address this. Pete Alonso only has 4 with a month in. That's going to change sooner or later. He's not going to be this slow, sluggish right now. He has a 668 OPS right now. That's going to eventually change. Jeremiah Jackson, 6 home runs. Gunnar Henderson has 9, about to be 10. So there's a high possibility they're going to have 4 guys or 5 guys with 20 plus home runs in this lineup. A guy I want to talk about, Leody Taveras, who was a waiver wire pickup at the end of the season a year ago. I think it was the last week of the season or the first week of the offseason while the playoffs started. Been a great addition for them. Plays a great center field. Another option in that already crowded outfield they have down there. 852 OPS. Broke up the no-hitter against Parker Messick. Fuck him. Other than that, I mean, Blaze Alexander has been awful. Colton Cowser needs to figure his stuff out. Just very disappointing, but at least, like you said, they have Taylor Ward and Adley Rushman's finally putting together a better, season than he did a year ago. Absolutely. So they have positivity going their way offensively. I'd like to see Dylan Beaver step up a little more, but they have so much talent, and a lot of talent is still injured.
Dude, Taylor Ward is so fucking underrated. 35 hits, 13 doubles off that. Only 1 home run, but again, the power will come. 35 hits, 27 walks, 21 strikeouts, 304 average, 438 OBP. Like, dude, that's like, and his OPS is 881, and that's really just because his slugging is low because he's just hitting a lot of singles right now. So he got a good amount of doubles. Again, you switch 4 of those singles into home runs, and he has 5 right now. He's 1,000 OPS. This dude's so special. He's such a good, stable piece in this lineup that I'm so jealous that It's just such a good hitter. He kind of like reminds me a lot of, and we always use the Guardians. Obviously, we're biased. Reminds me a lot of like a right-handed, similar how DeLauder comes up, just so patient. Will take his singles, will take his doubles, and let the power follow. Like how Chase had that run of home runs, you're gonna see Taylor Ward in a week hit
No,
five. Like it's just when you're that good of a hitter and he's a big guy and he's strong, he's gonna catch barrels and he's playing his role again. He's a leadoff guy. Like him and Gunnar are kind of 1 and 2. They keep switching off. He needs to get on base because, like, why hit a home run if you can get on base and Pete Alonso's behind you, right?
for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
let's roll it into the boy. Like, let's get the guy going. Let's get Adley going. Let's get Basello going. The only thing is these guys strike out a lot, but
They do.
who fucking doesn't?
They do.
Who fucking doesn't? It's like missing threes in
Yeah.
the NBA nowadays. Like everybody fucking shoots.
I mean, everybody shoots threes, everybody misses threes. But I think a weird thing, too, is like they gave up on Ryan Mountcastle, who's been bad this year. With Pete being there, it's been nice. But Kobe Mayo has been a disaster for them. I wonder if they use him in a trade piece to fix the pitching rotation, which we're going to talk about next.
Really I just wanted to highlight Jonathan Rodriguez, 7 games, no hits.
Yeah, but he's raking in AAA, and I hear about that.
AAA All-Star.
Yeah. I mean, for all the Baltimore fans out there, do not take that as positive. Yeah. We've seen it here in Cleveland.
Dude, don't
for so
fall
long.
for it.
No.
And we're rivals in football, and we shouldn't be doing this for you. But
no.
We're going to warn you. Don't get excited about that, dude.
Absolutely.
Ever.
And we talked about how bad this pitching has been rotation-wise. I think Zach Eflin, who's already hurt, had 2.45 ERA. He looked good in his only lone start. But, like, dude, you're taking a look at the ERAs right now. Like, Yunier Canoa's bounced back. Great addition out of the bullpen. Kind of that, sinker ball-ish guy that throws really hard. Helmsley has been a great addition. That back end of the bullpen has 7 saves already to a 2.53 ERA, bouncing back from his time at the Mets, which I think has even more, stink on the Mets, right? It's a culture issue.
It's like when the Browns would lose a guy and they'd be good anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
But Shane Baz, Kyle Bradish, I mean, we could go on and on pitching horribly. Chris Bassett, I think, was an addition where I was excited if I was an Orioles fan, a veteran that's pitched big games in the past. He's pitching to a 5.46. He's getting his ass kicked. And part of that is what we saw him against Cleveland. He started to walk guys, right? His control was a strength in his past. Now he's not pitching well at all, right? Yeah. Only has 17 strikeouts so far this season. Not going to get the job done. Teams are hitting 328 against Chris Bassett right now. So the Orioles are going to have to get better frontline pitching, and this has been an issue for them for years. They brought in Corbin Burns. They lost him after 1 year. They're going to have to find somebody like that to anchor this rotation to make them competitive again, because this offense is good enough.
It's good, dude. It's so good. And I'll tell you what, I mean, credit to the bullpen. I don't think they can do it the rest of the year, but I mean, if you look at their top guys right now, Nunez, Wells, Wolfram, Garcia, Hensley, Cano, what do they all have in common? Under a 3 ERA. Actually, I think under a 2.7 ERA. You can't rely on that too much, but I mean, God, let those guys breathe a little bit, and they're going to even be better. So, I mean, they have the back end, especially if Hensley can pitch like this, and close games out. I mean, that's going to be the biggest thing for them, and he's 7 for 7 right now. So, close those games out. You can win, beat up on the teams when you're having those 3-4 home run games. That's a good recipe for 90 wins for sure.
Yeah, and Cade Povich has really impressed me too. It potentially could be in that starting rotation. Maybe he makes a jump. I think he could be a very good piece for them. Just really depends on how he's using that fastball and getting ahead in the count. Walks a lot of hitters. We've seen it before. He can get hit hard, but he has the potential to be a great starting
pitcher. Watch out
pitcher.
for the Royals with them.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's a good trade.
Yeah.
Targeted for Royals.
And the Royals, too, I think that would be a good fit to make a trade for, because they have so many starting pitchers like Michael Wacha. That's what the Orioles need. Veteran guys that get big time strikeouts. Maybe Cole Ragans. Yeah, he's going to be on the block. Maybe they get fastball Freddie from the Mets. Maybe they get, some other guys. Sandy, they'll check in on. Nobody's going to get him. But there's plenty of teams out there with major starting pitching that are going to trade away in the American League that Baltimore is going to need. I do want to mention Andrew Kittredge, who seems like, he's like 100 fucking years old. He's still in the league and he's still pitching well. Only 3 games, 0 ERA, but they've been using him in high leverage situations to set up for Ryan Helmsley, and that's huge for them, especially with Yunier Cano pitching the 7th. They have talent. They should be a team that could contend and potentially make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll win the division, though.
No, yeah, ideally right now, if you look at the bullpen, you just got to get to the 5th or 6th. with not too little damage, and you have enough weapons. Yeah, I mean, it's the Yankees are too tough, but it's early. I mean, Yankees could lose a couple games, Orioles could win four in a row. All of a sudden, they're three back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's so early. The season's so volatile still. We don't know if any injuries can happen, God forbid. So or will happen. It's just nature of the beast. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to talk a little bit more on some of these games. These Orioles and Yankees play today. I think Cade Povich is slated to start against the Will Warren and the Yankees today. And it's just such a big series coming up for both of these ball clubs. We're going to start off with them, then we'll move into Reds Pirates. It's just been a great, good. It's going to be a great weekend of baseball to watch. So we'll preview some of these games coming up for you guys. So what do you got on the Orioles Yankees?
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to be it's going to be a measuring stick between two teams in the AL East, right? Orioles, we kind of just mentioned. They're still a little off the Yankees, but not crazy far. Win this series gives you a lot of confidence, gives that pitching a lot of confidence. We'll see if the bats can match up. Will Warren going tonight, TBD for the Orioles. Obviously going to have to start hot. I love that matchup. Another one I'm just staring at right now, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. Reds Pirates. Yeah. I think that's super fun.
Yeah, we got to see if the Reds are for real. I know they're 20-11, but they have the worst offense in all of baseball and have the second best record right now, tied with the Dodgers in the National League. For me, man, this Reds team, and I'll get to the Orioles Yankees in a second, but this Reds team needs to pitch well, which they've been doing all year. Besides Ben Williamson, they've had a great starting rotation. But, I mean, this Pirates team continues to pitch amazing. They're happy. I know Pirates fans are happy to have Mitch Keller back, and they didn't trade him because he's been sensational. And when they get Jared Jones and all those guys back, they're going to be legit. But right now, they're sitting at 500. Hopefully, they can, put up some runs. They have a good offense right now, which has been their weakness in the past. It's going to be a battle of whose offense is better in situational hitting and who pitches well and plays better defense. I know that sounds common and cliche, but it's true. Between these two teams that are both young and one has a veteran manager that's been there, done that before. But I also think the Reds have gotten a little lucky.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You don't have the second or the worst offense in the league and the second best. That's not going to stay. They're probably winning a lot of lucky games, a lot of one-run games, getting huge production from the middle of the order. However, it's very up and down. So we'll see. Another one too, Dodgers Cardinals. If you have MLB.TV, folks, I mean, tune into that. I love the way the Cardinals are playing. They're getting back to old Cardinal ball. JJ Westerholt's one of the best rookies in the league right now. Dude's hitting the absolute tank off the ball. Jordan Walker, this dude called that comeback. Kudos to him. And that's another great one for me. What's another one you're kind of looking at?
I really like the Rangers Tigers. Just because the Tigers have been better recently, back to 500. Yeah, under 500, sorry. They're 16 and 17 as we speak. But like both teams hovering around 500, this is huge for future tiebreakers when it comes to AL wildcard territory. I know it's early to say it in May, but it's true, right? Yeah. Both of these teams were playoff contenders a year ago. Actually, both of these teams had tiebreakers over each other. The Rangers were eliminated last week, and the Tigers snuck in. So, I mean, this is going to be a good series for me. Mackenzie Gore gets the ball for the Rangers, and we know what he can be. I would really like to see him in the zone more often. If he walks a lot of guys, it's going to be a huge night offensively for Detroit. And for Jack Flaherty, too, the guy that's going for the Tigers, same issue for him. But he's getting hit harder than you would expect. The Tigers really need Jack Flaherty to step up to become a better, version of themselves. But I'd like to see, what Kevin McGonigal is going to continue to do. The Tigers are just very interesting. I think I was higher on them coming in, kind of coming back down to earth because offensively they have not been producing at all.
No. And I think it's just so many guys on different kind of timelines right now. The hitting is going to start matching up. Torque is hitting absolute fuck off the ball the past week or two. He's just such a big hitter. And I think the vibes in that clubhouse with AJ Hinch are always going to be good. I think they're trying not to – I think they saw last year how they could get a little ahead of themselves. So I think they just want to – again, baseball's – it's like a marathon, man. You have to keep a steady pace. If you try to sprint right out the gate, you're going to get hurt. You're going to fall down on your face, basically. So you just got to keep that 500 above 500, kind of ride it out and then hit those strides when it comes to July, August. That's your mile 18, 19, 20, where you start ramping up down to the end of the finish line. So, the Tigers, I think if you're a Tigers fan, as much as I hate to say this, you should feel good. They just look like a playoff team when they play. They're just not all cohesive right now offensively. And even Scoot Ball's a little off, they'll be fine. There's too much talent, dude. And AJ Hinch is I hate saying this. He's such a good manager. I mean, he literally is the reason the shift was banned. At the end of the day, they're too good. They'll sit around 88, 95 wins.
Yeah, and also too, I'd feel good as a Tigers fan knowing that Max Clark's on the verge of getting called up eventually. We saw Travis Bazzana getting called up in Cleveland, which I want to talk about in a little bit. Your expectations for him. I think that's a big storyline that we didn't get to. But anyways, as I was saying, for the Tigers, Jake Rogers has been horrific, right? And I think it's only a matter of time. Acquired in the Verlander trade. It's funny to see Verlander come back to the Tigers, and he's already on the IL though. But it's funny to see when you have somebody traded for and they're both on the same team. But anyways, like I was saying, for the Tigers, you should feel confident in, Max Clark coming up and maybe giving you some sort of offensive boost, right? They're hitting home runs, but they're not hitting for an average. The Tigers slug very well, but they're not getting on base. They strike out a lot. Riley Green's bounced back. He's tremendous. He's one of the best players in all of baseball right now. And for the Tigers, their success, they need Javier Baez to start playing center field more often, more than Parker Meadows. So it's more of like some of these other teams just finding their nine and rolling with it. And I would feel confident in the Tigers when they find their nine and just roll with it.
Yep, absolutely. They don't need a platoon.
No, for sure. Last thing before we get out of here, we finished wrapping up some of these big key matchups, but I think one of the biggest stories in all of baseball is Travis Bazzana, former number one overall pick in 2024, got the call from Cleveland. He made his major league debut on Tuesday. What are your expectations and what are your thoughts about Travis Bazzana coming in? What impact can he make?
First thought is, dude, that 2024 class is disgusting. Okay, that might go down as a historic class. First thought about Bazzana, first at bat, jitters. First, same thing I saw with Chase, man, and what they're doing with a lot of these young guys. They look professional. They work the count. They're use what you got, man. They literally walked a dude with no hits in his MLB career, an intentional walk the other night. Like, that shows it. Use that fear people have of you and work your walks, and they're going to have to come into the zone eventually. And it's a dude that's hit the shit out of the ball a couple times already, and it's baseball. The gods are doing that. The gods are going to do that to rookies. They're gonna kind of check your ego in the beginning of the year. And I'm so happy he has this whole runway now. Instead of like a June, July call up, he's going to get 100 games in. He's going to get 300 at bats, I'm sure, if he stays healthy. I'm so excited to see how he's going to keep going. He got on base a couple times the other night with walks. That's going to be his key. It's kind of like score hitting free throws, right? If you can knock down the easy ones, if you could take the easy ones, the others will follow. The game just rewards that type of behavior. It's natural. Still, to my knowledge, I think, one strikeout he's had so far?
First at bat.
So first at bat strikeout, throw that away. So seven at bats since 2 walks, no strikeouts. I mean, 2 singles, right? 2 for 7, not a bad percentage right there. So I'll take that every day of the week. That's about a 300, right under a 300 OBP. But again, tonight, watch the series. I think he's going to get really comfortable being back on the West Coast. Something really comfortable and natural for him. The time, playing at that time, I could see this man having like a Chase DeLauder in Seattle. Just a comfortable getting out. Sometimes it's easier to get on the road. He had that big home debut. Sometimes it's easier to get away for 6 games, focus on your game. No, people are going to be excited to see you in Sacramento, but nobody's going to be like having 20,000 fans cheering his name. So he's going to be able to kind of reel in a little bit, get into this next weekend series. I think it's next weekend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe this next weekend we play at home and then have back-to-back weekend series. Well, we'll see. He can hit at home. So I just love the way he plays, man, and I'm so happy he's up. And I was just getting really annoyed of all the rhetoric behind it because I was fine with waiting another year with him. But yeah, he's ready to go. He was hitting the shit out of AAA.
Yeah, I know you were a little critical and nervous. You thought that he needed a little bit more time. I was on the fence of like if he has a hot streak or he's shown like the ability to, he got off of a slow start in AAA, but he was starting getting hot and he was starting to prove that like he belonged and deserved to get a chance in the majors. That's when I personally thought they should call him up, and they did that. One thing that's really impressed me is this kid has balls, man. The first pitch of his major league career went up there hacking and swinging as hard as he damn can. And I know a lot of old baseball fans don't like that, and don't really care for that. But that just shows me he has a plan of attack, right? I know that he knows the zone very well. He's like Brian said, walked twice. One was intentionally walked, but again, immense respect from Kevin Cash to walk a rookie in his major league debut with the tying run at second base. So if that doesn't tell you what he can be, I don't know what can, right?
Yep.
I don't know if Nick Kurtz got intentionally walked in his major league debut. So I'm not saying he's better, but I'm just throwing that out there. One thing that's really impressed me, man, is he's shown the ability to hit the fucking ball hard. People on Twitter flame me for tweeting that out. I just want to tell you, he hit the ball 3 times over 100 miles an hour. According to studies, they say 50 to 60% of the time when you hit a ball 100 miles an hour, that's a base hit. So, like, if he's doing that, what? Yeah,
He's going to get 5 or 6
out of
hits.
the 4 times out of the 6 at bats, he hit a ball hard over 100 miles an hour. Like, you're telling me that's not consistent.
2 of those are hits, yeah.
Exactly. And one got robbed, too.
Yeah.
His expected batting average right now is, 2.7? So he got robbed of a base hit.
And the Guardians are having the best fielding of any major league team against them. So it's just baseball's a game of law of averages. It all comes back to the middle. And I love your point about swinging at the fastball because it reminds me of a great quote from a famous boxing trainer, Customato, which he said he told Muhammad Ali when he was facing George Foreman. George Foreman, huge guy, Muhammad Ali, a little smaller, heavyweight speed. He goes, what should I do with this guy? And he goes, well, you walk up there and you hit him in the first round with your biggest right hand you got. And that's what Bazzana did. He goes, I'm going to show everybody knows they're going to watch his first at bat around the league. He's going to come out. I mean, he's an Aussie dude. They're scrappy dudes. He's going to come out and say, fuck it. I'm going to swing, and I'm going to swing out of my fucking shoes right now because I'm going to show them what the fuck is up. And it's not about landing it all the time. It's about knowing that you can throw it. And dude, I can't wait for his first big hit moment. That first helmet toss he's going to have, that first time maybe he scores the game-winning run, saves a game in the field. I can't wait. And I don't really care about the fielding. He's going to be an average to above average fielder. I just want him to hit like Robbie Cano, and I'm good.
Yeah, and the fielding to me isn't too much a concern anymore. I know he made the one error. He rushed the throw. He was nervous. Not going to make that excuse. You have to make that play. But he rushed the throw. That's all. He made some very nice plays. One thing I do want to highlight, dude, is I know it's early on, but like if you look at the expected stuff within, the 8 at-bats, it gives you an idea of what he can be, right? Obviously, you don't want to use it to heart, but if you take a look at it, 100% hard hit rate, right? So he's hitting the ball hard. That's very important as a major league hitter. It means that he has a good approach and he's good at getting the barrel of the ball. Not chasing at all, actually. Look at that, 25% chase rate, which is above average. And then for a major league kid that, expected slugging of 682 and he hasn't even gotten a hit, it's just showing you that he has the talent to be, that the number one pick that people said that, was a bust before he even came up. Been a lot of critics about there because of the timeline and how he came up. But in the 2 games, he's shown you the talent. He just got to put it together, right? We know how talented he could be. He has to put it together, and we'll see, right? It's baseball. He could, be bad and go down and potentially come back up, but he's going to get the opportunities. He's going to get, the opportunities to be great, and hopefully he can provide. I see him providing. He's just a generational talent.
Absolutely, dude. And people should be very, very thankful of Chase DeLauder because the way he's played this year has helped them feel comfortable enough to call Bazzana up, and especially Chase filling that 2-hole the way he is because he's an older guy. He's been in the league. He probably should have been up here a year or 2 ago. Besides, injuries kind of slowed this process. But this guy can just settle in. We're not asking him for the world. Just go hit and be yourself, man. Especially with the way this lineup's hitting. It's just going to be fun. And he's just such a perfect addition to this team. Like, the vibes of this team, like, they're just the most fun Cleveland team we've had in so long. This Guards team, credit to Tito, he brought fun back to baseball. Even Eric Wedge's teams weren't even that fun. Like, I love those teams because we won. But it wasn't even, like, fun. Everyone just loves playing with each other. Like, you could see these guys drinking beers together at a bar. It's a bunch of guys that love playing baseball and they love playing for each other. And again, that's why they drafted him.
For sure, man. And a team right now that I made a tweet that they're struggling hitting right-handed pitching. I know that the splits are a little unfair, 190 at-bats against lefties compared to 822 against righties. But you get the point, right? Only batting .213 against right-handed pitching, and Travis Bazzana will give you a boost in that category if the timing's right?
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited to see what he can do tonight, but that's all I got for us.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's win this series.
That's Beer and Ball for you guys today. We appreciate you for checking in as always. Crack open your favorite beverage. We'll see you next time on
Go
Beer and Ball.
Cavs.